What's going on, YouTube, fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of Hood Tales, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you're feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, definitely share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Before I get into this story, I want to give a special thank you and shout out to Miss Angela Corbett for always showing love and supporting the channel. We definitely appreciate your love and support. Let's get right into the story. As a father, most men take their job seriously. As a provider, protector, leader of the household, when we choose to have a family and kids that share our bloodline and last names, real fathers will sacrifice so much so that they can have a better life than they had, even giving up some of your own happiness just to see them happy. Certain bonds are so deep, like a father and his junior, a man having a son that carry on his name and legacy. It's almost like leaving your mark on the world. As a father, of course you can instill things in your daughter and give them game. But with a boy, you can go a little bit deeper because you yourself have been in their shoes and also a young man before. You school them about this world, do's and don'ts, girls, how to provide, carry themselves. Some men take fatherhood so deep to the heart because their father might not have been around, or they feel like they have a chance for their kids to be better than them. And as we get older, so does our babies. Even though they are grown, they are always babies in a parent's eyes. And even as a grown man or woman, as a father, you still want to shield them and protect them. But then one day you look up and realize you can't no more because they have to stand on their own too and make their own life decisions. Or worse, your baby loses their life to the streets. Now the person that was supposed to bury you, you have to bury. And that's enough to make even the strongest person break and want to get back. And on this episode of Hood Tales, we'll be taking it to Colorado to discuss a case of a former MMA fighter and anti-violence activist that's been accused of a revenge hit after losing his son. Lamba Sia Sr. and Lamba Sia Jr. had made a big name for themselves in the world, but more importantly, in their community. Let's rewind a little bit. Lamba Sr. was a former MMA fighter who always believed people should put the guns down and either talk out their problems or just take it to the ring. Growing up around gangs and violence, the older senior had saw a lot of people lose their lives to the streets and wanted better for his family. He raised his son to be on that same type of time. A very active father, he was at all the juniors' football games and felt like he was watching the rebirth of himself and his son, often joking with him, saying, "Yeah, you stole my face, but I'm way more handsome than you." As Lamba Jr. was getting older, he soaked up wisdom from his pops and decided he would follow in his footsteps of becoming an MMA fighter himself. When Senior retired from the ring, he decided to pour that energy back into his community. In 2015, he opened up a community center in Aurora, Colorado called Heavy Hands, Heavy Hearts, where his goal was to pull troubled kids off the street and get them an outlet and a voice. The center had movie nights, fitness classes, trips, girls empowerment, youth violence prevention, even Thanksgiving dinners. Helping out around the center and watching his father, Lamba Jr. will also create a non-profit called Gloves Up, Guns Down, Get Your Heads Up in the Hood. His program also encouraged the youth to stop the violence. As he would always say, anybody could pick up a gun and kill, but it takes a man to live for his peoples. The father and son went to different communities in the Colorado area, hosted events, spoke, and gave back to the community. Fast forward back to 2023, 23-year-old Junior was in his prime, taking after his father's style in the ring. He quickly rose through the ranks, even winning a belt. When he wasn't training, he was making music, as he also put a studio in the community center for the kids. Lamba Sr. was proud of his son and impressed how everything he taught him and the opportunities he gave him, he took advantage of. He often bragged on his son, being a great man, big brother, protector, and now Junior had a son of his own, father as well. But in August 2023, everything would change. Lamba Jr. went out with his little sister and other family members and a few friends to a hot spot for nightlife in the city, 5 Points in Denver. It was on the late night going into the early morning hours. Also in the area at the time was 24-year-old Tyrell Braxton and 25-year-old Gillian Masawa. As everyone was outside enjoying themselves, somewhere in the mix, Gillian and Tyrell got into an altercation. As Tyrell walked off, he allegedly upped the gun, turned around, and let off multiple shots at Gillian. Lamba, his cousin and sister, was behind him. Another person had a gun also, and Junior picked it up as it fell to the ground. Trying to protect his family, he returned fire. After the smoke cleared, local police was called to the area of 28th and Welton Street. When they arrived, it was 4 people in total shot: Gillian, Lamba Jr., his sister, and cousin. Junior's sister and cousin would survive, but unfortunately, Lamba Jr. and Gillian would pass away from their injuries. At first, no one could identify the shooter, so the news released a picture of a man in yellow as the suspect, also with a cash reward. It didn't take long for Tyrell to be identified, because at the time of the incident, he was already in the halfway house and had recently came home from prison. He was at first taken into custody and charged with the double homicide, first-degree assault, and being a felon in possession of a handgun. As Lamamba's family was left to grieve, also Gillian's, Senior took the news the hardest. In interviews, he spoke out on how his son was doing what he told him to do: protect his family and sister. He claimed his son didn't own the gun. He picked it up as someone dropped it to return fire. He was so hurt you could see the pain in his eyes. By the time the funeral for Junior came around, it was packed, with the community showing their support and love for the young man. His body was held upright so he could look guests eye to eye, as people spoke highly about the young man. His father had the most to say. He stood by his son's side for almost 4 hours, talking and giving love to him. But after the funeral, the family was left with a void, and Junior's son without a father. As time went on, the family would feel more pain, as the murder charges against Tyrell were dropped. Even though Colorado sealed the case, they painted it as a self-defense situation. But the feds picked up the gun case since he was already a convicted felon, and Tyrell was held on that. This left Senior even more frustrated and hurt that his son wouldn't receive the justice he felt he deserved. Almost a year would go by when family and friends would see a change in Lamba Sr. His usually outgoing personality had dimmed down. He often talked about Junior on his social media and to friends and family. He also fell back a little bit from his work in the community. Then on August 10th, 2024, almost exactly a year after Junior passed away, a 28-year-old man named Malcolm Watson and father of 3 boys was celebrating one of their birthdays. They was having a party at a park in Commerce City. He was walking with party supplies when the truck out of nowhere pulled up and a man walked up and shot Malcolm multiple times, including once in his head. As he fell to the ground, witnesses called police. The shooter walked back to the truck but didn't leave. He allegedly grabbed something, turned back around, walked up to Malcolm, went through his pockets, and tried to place a gun under the man. As police pulled up, Malcolm's child mother could be heard yelling, "You shot him on our son's birthday," and tried to plant a gun on him. The shooter was still on the scene and was later identified as 46-year-old Lamba Sr. The driver of the truck allegedly was his daughter, who was shot prior, and another person was also in there with Senior. Senior was taken into custody, charged with first-degree hit, and held on a $1 million cash bond. As more information came out, people pointed to the situation as revenge or retaliation, as Malcolm was supposed to be a close friend to Tyrell. His family said Lamba Sr. crashed the party and took the innocent man away in front of his 5-year-old son and family. Malcolm was described as a great father, family man, and although him and Tyrell was close, his family claimed it couldn't have been revenge because Malcolm had nothing to do with Junior's death. As family members of Lamba spoke out, some say they saw a change in the man for the worse after his son passed away. They say the man acted as if he had nothing to live for and often spoke of how Junior was gone. Some in the community were disappointed and surprised, saying Senior didn't practice what he was preaching, put the guns down. They understood his pain, but claimed he was no better than the shooters and gangs in the community. His bail was raised to $5 million. He is currently awaiting trial and is innocent until proven otherwise. Rest in peace to Gillian, Lamba Jr., and Malcolm. I send my prayers and condolences to all their families. I don't think Gillian and Lamba knew each other. It seemed the altercation was between Tyrell and him, but it ended up spilling into a group shooting. I guess Senior felt somebody needed to feel his pain, and since Tyrell was jammed up, he did what most people do in the streets, find somebody that was close to him. The crazy thing is, he was all about the youth and keeping them out of trouble, and he allegedly took a man from his 3 sons at his kid's birthday party because of his pain. But I'm gonna leave this one open for discussion. I wanna know what y'all think about the situation. Let me know in the comments. And remember, we gotta succeed, not to fail, so we won't be just another hood tale. Yeah, man, this was a crazy story. Salute to the person, the fan member who gave me this story, who sent it to me, told me to look into it. I hope you get a chance to check it out. But yeah, this definitely was a wild one. Rest in peace to everybody that lost their life in the situation. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. This is another episode of Hood Tales. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.